Hello, I'm Kelly, and welcome to Two Homes and One Dream. My husband and I live in are expats, Canadian expats living in a quiet mountain village and a small town where my husband is pastor of a church. You will see him from time to time. And on this channel, I'd like to talk about the realities of living in the Dominican Republic, why we chose to retire in the DR, why we have two homes. For a lot of people, that's probably going to be a big question. So I hope to share with you the real life of living in the DR, the realities of it, and our daily life here in this country. So it basically started back in 2017 when my husband and I both decided that we wanted to retire from our jobs. And we had done a lot of research prior to choosing the Dominican Republic. We had visited many different countries to check them out. I had a subscription to International Living magazine where I would read up about retiring in different countries. So there were a few countries that we were seriously considering before the Dominican Republic. We considered Costa Rica, Panama, Rohan, Ecuador, just to name a few. And what really drew us to the Dominican Republic was how I say is we felt we would get the best bang for our buck by coming here. And the flight time from here to Canada is only 4 hours, where many of the other countries that we were considering, it was a much longer flight, which would be a challenge for our family members to come and visit us, and for us to go back and visit Canada as well. So one of the main criteria for my retirement was that I didn't want to see snow anymore. I had enough of shoveling and dealing with snow, and I wanted somewhere where I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And the Dominican Republic definitely checked all those boxes for us. And many people are wondering why two homes? Well, when we first came to the Dominican Republic, we rented a small condo right in town where we didn't have a car, where we were able to walk to everything, and it was very convenient. But we had two little dogs at the time, and I just wanted a little bit more security, knowing that I was coming back to the same place every year, because at that time we weren't living here on a full-time basis. We were only here for 6 months in the winter, and then we'd go back to Canada for the summer. So we took a huge plunge and decided to buy a small villa in Casa Linda, which is one of the gated communities in the town where we live, which is called Sosua, which is on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. So we lived there for a couple of years and really liked it. But then, we realized that we wanted we'd made the decision to come and live here in 2020. We decided to come here and live on a full-time basis. And that's when we knew we had to find somewhere else to live in the summertime, because the summers are so brutally hot here. The humidity is very high in town, and we were looking for somewhere that was a bit cooler. So there is an area in the Dominican Republic that's in the mountains where they actually have fireplaces in their homes. And one of the areas is called Jarabacoa. So we looked there initially for housing, but we just found it was a little expensive for us. And then a neighbor of ours, where we were living at the time, mentioned to us that his wife's family lived way up in the mountains, way out in the countryside, and there was property for sale. He was starting to build a house there. He encouraged us to come up and have a look at it, and so we did. And the day that we came up here, we found this property where we are now, and it has a beautiful view on top of a mountain down to the ocean and Cabarete Beach. And I just said to my husband, this is it. This is the property that we need to buy. And we did. We bought it that day. So that was 2020, fall of 2020. We didn't actually move into the house here until May of 2022. So it took some time to build this place. We built it from scratch. And at some point in one of the videos in the future, I'll give you a tour of the inside and the outside. And so we basically spend Monday to Friday here in the mountains in this little village of maybe 100 people where no one speaks English. And then from Friday to Sunday afternoons, we spend in town in our studio condo. So we consider ourselves to have the best of both worlds, and we love the routine that we have, and it services all our needs. It allows my husband to pastor the church that we are responsible for in Sosua, and I play the piano on the worship team. So being up here in the mountains really gives us that peaceful, quiet time that we need to practice, to prepare sermons, to get ready for Sunday, basically. So I hope that you've enjoyed this introductory video about our life here in the Dominican Republic. If you're interested in learning more about living in the DR, living out in a remote part of the Dominican Republic, and even living in town on the north coast in the Dominican Republic, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.